There is a divine law that no force can stop when a soul truly awakens to its purpose. And the moment you understand that truth, your first million, that symbol of abundance, fulfillment, and completeness in this life, stops being something you have to chase. It starts to find you, not because you run after it, but because the frequency you're living at begins to attract it. Just like the moon, without making any effort, moves the tides. Have you ever felt that there's a part of you that refuses to accept scarcity? A silent voice that insists you were born for something greater, to experience the abundance of heaven reflected here on earth. Before we continue, stop for a second. Take a deep breath. Feel that promise beating inside your chest. And now ask yourself something. What does wealth really mean to you? I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about that feeling of living in peace, of feeling supported, protected, of knowing that you're not fighting alone against the world. What is it that your soul has been silently asking for a long time? Because here's the first big mistake that almost everyone makes. They believe that abundance comes from the amount of effort. But true abundance responds to something else. It responds to the level of alignment between who you are, what you believe, and what you do. There is a silent law that never stops acting. It is older than any empire, more precise than any clock, and more constant than the passage of time. It is the law of divine reflection. Everything you hold with conviction in your inner world ends up being projected into your outer reality. If lack lives within you, sooner or later, you will see it reflected in every corner of your life. But if there is certainty within you, reality will gradually begin to reorganize itself to respond to that conviction. It's not magic, it's not luck. It's spiritual coherence. Money, opportunities, connections, doors that seem closed, everything responds to the state of your consciousness, in the same way that planets revolve around the sun without questioning it. And listen to this carefully. Your first million doesn't come as a trophy, not because you've suffered more than others. It comes as a natural consequence of becoming the person capable of sustaining it. It's life telling you, now you truly understand. When you work without fear, when you enjoy what you do, when you are grateful even for the little things, while you build something greater, when you value every opportunity instead of complaining because it's not perfect yet, something changes, an unseen current begins to flow, and money starts moving towards you in ways that seemed impossible before. Unexpected ideas, key people, opportunities that show up just when it seemed like they didn't exist. Interestingly, they always arrive when you stop chasing them desperately. How strange. Or maybe not so much. It's not about greed, it's about balance. However, stop for a second. Yes, right now. Look away from the screen for 5 seconds and look at your own hands. Those hands have carried worries. They have known fatigue. But they also have the power to build the life that doesn't exist yet. Take a deep breath. This video isn't meant to just entertain you briefly and let you continue as before. It was made to awaken a part of you that may have been asleep for too long. If you feel that today you've decided to trust more in the divine law than in your own fears, write this phrase in the comments. Infinite abundance comes to me. They're not just 5 words. Let them be a declaration, a commitment to yourself. The moment when you stop chasing abundance and start becoming the person who is ready to receive it. Life has a curious way of giving back many times over what you give with faith, with love, and with sincere intention. But there is an even deeper level. Everything changes when you stop chasing wealth and start chasing purpose. Because purpose is the true magnet for abundance. If your desire is to serve, add value, create something that transforms the lives of others, heal, inspire, or leave a mark, then money stops being a constant concern, and it starts to become the side effect of a well-lived mission. Wealth always finds its way more easily to a heart that knows why it exists. Abundance is not afraid of someone who acts with integrity, and the laws of the universe do not forget those who walk with faith. Many spend years asking themselves how to attract more money without realizing that the right question was never, "What should I do?" but rather, "Who should I become?" Because life responds much more to your identity than to your efforts. You can work yourself to exhaustion and still feel like everything is too hard. Or you can act from a place of calm, from confidence, from certainty, and watch how the pieces start to fall into place with an ease that once seemed impossible. When your mind stops living in fear, your soul begins to make room for the miracle. And miracles rarely arrive according to our plans. They like to surprise us. Remember this: wealth is not pursued. It is allowed. It is allowed when you stop feeling guilty for receiving. It is allowed when you let go of the fear of having more. It is allowed when you understand that God does not respond to empty sacrifice, but to the coherence between your faith and your actions. Every thought of gratitude opens an invisible door. Every act of generosity sets something in motion. Every day you choose to trust instead of giving up changes, even if you can't see it yet, the course of your own reality. And when doubt appears, remember this idea: what you're looking for might not be as far away as you think. Maybe it's not abundance that's being delayed. Maybe it's your ability to receive it without fear. That's why you should speak as if you've already moved beyond scarcity. Be grateful even when your account still doesn't reflect what you dream of. Declare prosperity before you see it with your eyes, because everything is created twice, first in the unseen, and then in the world you can touch. The word creates direction. Faith sustains the path, and divine law does not measure quantities. It doesn't distinguish between a little and a lot. It only recognizes one difference: those who believe and those who still doubt. Allow these words to settle within you. Feel that tranquility that appears when you stop fighting against life and start walking alongside it. Repeat silently: abundance is already who I am. Prosperity is already who I am. I am already a channel for divine provision. And as you do it, something starts to change. Maybe you don't see it yet, but you can feel it. An ancient, silent, and wise force begins to bring order to what once seemed chaotic. The paths begin to clear. The right ideas arrive at the precise moment. The right people show up when you need them the most. It's not a coincidence. It's the natural response of a law that has always been there, waiting for you to wake up to. Because when you decide to live in harmony with the truth, everything that belongs to you by divine right is no longer distant. It starts to come closer. It finds you, and it ends up honoring the person you have become. That's why in this moment, bless your life. Be grateful for what today seems small, and also for what has already blossomed. And repeat in silence: I become a magnet for all good things. What belongs to me by divine right comes to me easily, harmoniously, and at the perfect time. I receive it with humility, with joy, and with a grateful heart. Stay in that feeling for a few seconds. Don't try to control the process. Let faith do what anxiety never could. And remember this: your first million won't mark the beginning of your abundance. It will only be the visible proof that abundance already lived within you long before it showed up in your account. The law is already at work, even if you still can't see it. Now listen carefully, because what comes next is not just another piece of advice. It's an understanding that can change the way you look at your life. The sacred law begins to move when the soul stops speaking from lack and starts expressing itself from certainty. There's a huge difference between saying, "God, please, give me," and saying, "Thank you, Father, because I know you have already prepared what I need." It seems like a small change, but it completely transforms the energy with which you relate to life. Because the universe doesn't respond to the language of fear. It responds to the language of trust. Do you notice it? When you give thanks before seeing the result, you're sending a very powerful message. You're saying, "I trust even before I have proof." And that trust has a language that miracles understand perfectly. Every word you speak leaves a mark. It's a seed. And the ground where it falls is not outside. It's within your own consciousness. If every day you repeat that you can't, that everything is difficult, that it's never enough, that something is always missing, don't be surprised when your reality starts to resemble those words too much. It's like planting thorns and expecting to harvest roses. Nature is patient, but it also has a memory. On the other hand, when you affirm, "Everything comes at the right time. I trust the process. Abundance also knows how to find me." Then you begin to cultivate the garden where your prosperity blooms. The sacred law does not separate what you think from what you say. Everything you hold with emotion ends up becoming an order for your own reality. And every word nourished by faith and love ends up finding a way to manifest itself. Many believe that abundance is a place they will reach someday, but abundance was never a destination. It's a way of inhabiting the present. It's here, right now, waiting for you to recognize it. Every time you are grateful for what you already have, even if it still doesn't seem like much, you are creating space to receive much more. Because life does not multiply complaining. It multiplies what you value. And something fascinating happens. Without forcing it, without getting desperate, the resources appear. Opportunities start to cross your path. The right people arrive almost at the exact moment. Not because the universe has favorites, but because serenity always attracts what anxiety pushes away. There is another truth that few people understand. The law responds more quickly when your heart is at peace. If you go through life comparing yourself, if you're afraid of losing, if you always feel others are moving ahead while you're left behind, your energy gets scattered. What you're seeking seems to get even farther away. But when you take a deep breath and tell yourself, "Everything is fine. Everything comes when it's meant to. What is meant for me will find its way." Then something happens. The channel opens again. Wealth never comes barging through the door. It comes in when it finds a space where it can stay. That's why, before you chase strategies, learn to cultivate silence. Before making impulsive decisions, stop for a moment. Before demanding results, be grateful. Many times that pause is worth more than 100 desperate moves. Now imagine this. You stand before a vast river of golden water. It flows without stopping. It doesn't struggle. It doesn't compete. It just moves forward. You don't need to rush to chase after it. Just hold out your hands. The river doesn't decide who deserves to receive its water. It simply reaches those who are willing to accept it. That's how the divine law works too. It's not waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to remember who you are. For you to stop seeing yourself as someone separate from abundance. For you to accept that you are part of a creation where provision has always existed. And when you make peace with that truth, the river changes direction. It starts to come closer to you, bringing opportunities you hadn't imagined, ideas that seem to come out of nowhere, people who show up just when you needed them the most, doors you didn't even know existed before. Maybe you've spent years believing that money always slips through your fingers, that luck chose someone else. that you were born with an invisible debt you can never repay. But today that story can end, because it was never the truth. The truth is much greater. You are part of a divine design where scarcity was never the plan. There is a constant flow of good, of opportunities, and of abundance that has been trying to find its way to you for a long time. And maybe the only thing missing was for you to finally stop closing the door. Only one thing was needed: to open the eyes of your soul and say with total conviction, I accept. Because when you accept without fear, without guilt, and without setting conditions, the sacred law begins to act. And from that moment on, abundance stops being something you have to chase. It starts looking for you. But believing is not enough. You also have to live according to that truth. Let each of your words and actions become a prayer. Every gesture of generosity opens new doors. Every time you give with confidence, you set a law of multiplication in motion. And every time you bless someone else's success, you pave the way for your own. That's why, when you see someone prosper, don't compare yourself. Remember, if it was possible for that person, it can be possible for you too. Other people's prosperity is not a threat. It's a confirmation. What you celebrate draws closer to you. What you envy moves away. With time, something extraordinary happens. Money stops being the center of your life. You no longer chase it desperately. It starts coming as a result. You stop being afraid of it. You learn to manage it with gratitude. You understand abundance isn't about accumulation. Instead, it is in letting everything flow. In the realm of the spirit, nothing is lost. Everything circulates. That has always been one of the great secrets. The sacred law does not respond to desperate effort. It responds to the trust of those who stop trying to control every detail. Take a moment to breathe. If you can, close your eyes and repeat silently, thank you, because all good things are also finding their way to me. Thank you, because I have never lacked what truly matters. Thank you, because I am sustained by a source that never runs dry. As you do this, allow a new possibility to be born within you. The right projects are already in motion. The opportunities are too. The right people might already be approaching without you knowing it. Don't be in a hurry. Don't feed the fear. What truly belongs to you doesn't need to be chased. It just needs you to be ready to receive it. And when that moment comes, because it will come, you'll look back and understand that it wasn't just your effort that transformed your life. It was the way you learned to trust. It wasn't strength, it was surrender. And you'll discover that the greatest gift was never him. It was finding yourself again. Now keep silent for a few seconds. Breathe. Feel your heartbeat. You've never had to tell it to keep beating, and yet there it is, constant. That's proof that there is a higher intelligence supporting you even when you don't see it. The same intelligence that guides encounters, opportunities, and the paths that today seem invisible. Now lift your thoughts toward the source of all good. Not from need, but from trust. May we learn to walk with faith, even when we still can't see the whole path. May our thoughts be born from gratitude. And may our words open doors instead of closing them. Now repeat silently. I am one with the source of all abundance. I am a channel for all that is good. I lack nothing essential. I release fear. I release guilt. I release all resistance to prospering. I humbly accept the abundance aligned with my purpose. I allow opportunities, blessings, and resources to flow to me and through me for the good of all. Do not repeat these words as a wish. Turn them into a decision. Because when conviction becomes constant, reality starts to reorganize itself. The doors open, obstacles lose their strength, and what once seemed impossible begins to flow. Not because the world changed, but because you change. And when your inner world changes, reality always ends up responding. Never forget this. True wealth is always born first in consciousness, because what you accept as truth within yourself sooner or later ends up manifesting in your life. But when you start to recognize yourself as a blessed, prosperous person guided by a higher intelligence, everything that happens outside of you begins to reflect that new truth. It's not about forcing life to give you results, it's about remembering who you are. Because the sacred law can only multiply what you accept as true. Look at your hands for a moment. They are the tools with which you transform your reality. And declare over them, everything I touch prospers. Everything I build flourishes. Everything I give comes back multiplied. These are not just simple words. They are the direction you give to your own consciousness. Because the energy you put into each phrase ends up shaping the reality you experience. That's why you should stop speaking from scarcity and start speaking from abundance. Instead of repeating what you're lacking, remember everything that's already growing. Replace fear with confidence. Replace doubt with certainty. Replace complaining with gratitude. Words create paths, and you participate in that creation every day. Now give thanks. Even if you don't see the result yet, even if it seems like nothing has changed. Because gratitude is the bridge between what you desire and what ends up manifesting. When you give thanks before receiving, you're showing that your faith got there before your eyes could see it. That's how it has always worked. Now imagine a shower of golden light descending upon you. Feel how it envelops your mind, your hands, your home, and every step you take. Carried within that light are the opportunities, the answers, and the abundance you're prepared to receive. You don't need to run after them. They also know how to find you. Bless your past because it was the place where your strength was born. Bless your present because this is where you're sowing the future. And bless what is coming because the harvest always comes to those who never stop sowing. Don't be afraid of time. Every process has its moment. Don't be afraid of money. It's just a tool when it's in service of a purpose. And don't be afraid of waiting. Many times, that's where life prepares what you still can't see. For the last time, repeat silently, I trust, I receive, I am grateful. The divine law works in me, through me, and in my favor. Everything that belongs to me arrives in harmony and at the perfect time. And I use it with love, wisdom, and purpose. Remain silent for a few seconds. Feel that peace that appears when you stop fighting against the future. There is no more anxiety, only trust. And always remember this truth: what truly belongs to you can never be lost. May all the good that comes into your life multiply in love, in service, in faith, and in joy. Now begin a new day with a different prayer. Not a prayer born out of fear, but out of certainty. Because the first words you say when you wake up can set the course for your entire day. Let this become your daily conversation with the source that never stops supporting you. Beloved God, infinite source of all good, today I wake up recognizing your presence in my life. I breathe within your peace. I walk within your light. I lack nothing essential because I have never been separated from you. My life is guided by a perfect law that multiplies every thought of faith and turns every act of love into a seed of prosperity. Today I choose to live in harmony with that law. May my thoughts be clear. May my words be a blessing. And may my actions become instruments of your provision. Repeat this as well. I am a child of abundance. I am a reflection of divine wealth. I am an instrument for good. Money does not rule my life. It is a resource in service of my purpose. Everything I need arrives at the right moment because it comes from a source that never runs out. Take a deep breath. Don't repeat these words in your mind. Feel them. Let each phrase settle inside you like rain on soil prepared to bloom. Today I release every idea of scarcity. I let go of the beliefs that made me think I wasn't enough. I release the fear of failure, the guilt around receiving, and all resistance to prospering. Instead, I embrace a greater truth. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am heir to the abundance that comes from my spiritual origin. And the truth does not depend on my past, my mistakes, or the circumstances I have lived through. It depends on who I really am. Now feel how everything starts to align. Not because the world has changed, but because you are looking at life from a different level of awareness. And when your consciousness changes, work, the opportunities, the right people, and the ideas you need slowly start to respond to that new version of yourself.